I'll let you go first. That way, if you go for like 25, I'll go for 26 and call it a
That's
day.
that's what I did to the other guy. That's what I did to the other guy.
I bet you didn't think we were going to be doing an entire Spice Girls segment on the show today, huh?
I don't know how we got roped into this.
This is so crazy. I'm even talking about this.
Just to like do that low voice and like just
You can do Ja Rule. I'll do Ashanti's parts.
man, I tried the Magic School Bus, didn't work.
Dying right now because that is on my notes.
People look this way and that way and try to find the answers in someone else, but it's really just embracing who you are, and that's sexy.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't.
What's
Hey,
going on? How are you doing, Mo?
hey, I'm doing good, Manning. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Dude, thank you so much for agreeing to being on the show. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. I like your energy. I was watching some of the other interviews and I was like, man, it's good vibes all around. So I always appreciate that. I had to hop on.
Well, that means so much coming from you, considering I wrote you on the most random day ever. I usually put out invites like Monday and Tuesday, like beginning of the week, but I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across Rental Car and I was like, holy shit. Let me go do some deep diving real quick. Literally wrote you on the spot. It was just so refreshing to hear back from you because I wrote you on a day that I was like, he's not going to get it. There's no way he's going to respond. So I was super stoked.
Man, yeah, Sunday can be that can be a hit or miss. Because I feel like everyone's on their phone on Sunday, but I feel like a lot of people have that rule. They're like, you know what? It's the weekend. I don't respond to, I guess, work emails on the weekend. But you know what? I was like, this is an awesome way to ask me to do it. And I was like, why not? We're sitting here today. Why not respond on Sunday and not have to worry about waiting until Monday and doing all that, man? So you know what? I got you. And also thanks for listening to Rental Car and checking me out online, and doing a little deep dive on me. So that's always awesome to hear.
Dude, I mean, we have so much to talk about because the deep dive was real. And so let me tell you, you're the first hit I've ever had on a Sunday. I've been doing this for almost 2 year. The 2 year mark is coming up in at the end of this year. And I was like, you know what? I have a rule of don't put out emails on the weekend because everyone pushes it till Monday. Don't do it. But you know what? You're my first Sunday hit. So I'm so stoked.
Yes,
And you're in
yes.
Nashville, right?
I am in Nashville. Where are you at?
Austin, are you guys getting this crazy weather too right now or no?
No, but well, what kind of crazy weather are you talking about?
Like, I mean, it sounded like pounds of water was hitting my house last night. Like, it was crazy.
Overall, it's been kind of a crazy spring. We got like it was like 3 weeks ago, I guess. It almost felt like it was like the Pacific Northwest. It just kind of was like misty all day for 3 weeks straight. And then before that, it was like cold. And it's been an odd spring. I have not had any water pounding on our roof. I actually, you know what? I take that back. Like once earlier this week, we had a real intermittent thunderstorm. And but other than that, is it like consistent over there?
It has been, yeah, for like the past 2 to 3 days. It's just been like at the most random times at night. Like, it'll just start storming. And last night was so crazy. Like, the house was shaking. It was like thunder, lightning. I'm like, man, this is insane. But it's supposed to be like this all week. So.
What's your electrical situation? Because it's always crazy when it gets a little wild out there, and then I wake up and all the clocks are off and everything, and I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm in the Matrix.
Dude, it's the worst. And the worst part is too, whenever our power goes out, some of our neighbors, they have generators, and it's just a reminder that we don't fucking have one. So it's like, yeah, we're the only ones without any power right now. But yeah,
How much are generators?
I have no idea. I've never looked into it. I think they're awful sounding. I think they look hideous on the side of the house, but apparently the joke's on me, you know?
Dude, that's exactly the way I feel until we get slammed. Me and my wife, Molly's old house, we would always lose power. This we've been pretty fortunate. Actually, we've lost power one time, and we shouldn't have even lost power. I don't even know what was going. I think it was sunny outside, and we lost power. So you know what? We've had good luck here, but I'm hoping you get some better weather over there, man. I've actually never been to Austin. It's on my hit list.
Yeah, we got to change that.
I gotta come. Yeah, man. I should have come through and done this in person. That would have been the way to do it. But you know what? This will work. We'll have to do it next time.
Absolutely. If you ever have any upcoming shows and you want to add Austin to the list, let me know. And I'm in Nashville a lot. So now that we're connected, I'll definitely,
What's
make plans whenever I come out there. I do go to Nashville often. So
what do you like to do in Nashville?
you want to know what's so crazy? I just took a trip to Nashville a month or 2 months ago, and all I did was sleep, get out, walk around, go have coffee, come back, take another nap. It was like the best reset I've ever had in
You
Nashville.
sound like a country singer.
I-
Well, one, I'll say what's your favorite? Are you like a hot chicken person when you come here? I'm gonna say the most generic thing I can say. Like, what do you like to eat in Nashville?
Well, I do like to explore with spicy levels because I am a down bitch for spicy food. Like,
Are you
I'm
really?
talking, oh my gosh, like, I am talking, like, I am surprised I don't have like fucking ulcers in my stomach. Like, I eat like chili peppers, like chips. Like, I mean, I'm talking like literally just last night. This is so crazy. I'm even talking about this. I promise we'll talk about music in 2 seconds, but
Oh, it's cool because I
I
got something after you do this real quick.
amazing. Because just last night I sauteed 8 habaneros, and that was my side veggie for my food. So when I
You're
say I'm
crazy.
crazy for spicy food, I'm crazy.
You were a crazy person, and honestly, actually, funny enough, I pride myself on my music. I think it's pretty good, but I will say that is secondary to the fact that in 2017 I did win the Nashville, what was it like Nashville Taco Festivals. I won their what was it like spicy food contest. I ate like 22 habaneros straight.
Holy crap.
Yeah, man, it was like me and four other people. Honestly, it wasn't that hard to eat the 22. I was amazed at how quickly I could do it. I was also surprised at how awful I felt 8 hours later. Horrible, horrible. But I won season tickets to Vanderbilt football and I got a trophy. So I'd say it was worth it. I went to like 3 games. The trophy's around here somewhere. So, I'm
We
glad
like
we
a
got
good
that in
trophy.
common though.
Absolutely. I like that you got a trophy out of it too. I'm a little jealous.
You know what? I think they actually stopped the competition after that. I think it was a one-time thing, to be honest. So I don't know if you're going to have your chance to make your mark here, but I'll let you know if it ever goes down again, and we'll go head to head and see how it all shakes out.
I'll let you go first. That way, if you go for like 25, I'll go for 26 and call it a
That's
day.
that's what I did to the other guy. That's what I did to the other guy.
I like it. I like a little competition. That's amazing. How long have you been in Nashville?
I've been in Nashville since I moved here in 2015. Like, quick backstory. So, like, I was a writer in country music. I don't know how many country musicians you do on this show, but Nashville's like, I mean, I guess all music's super big on songwriting, but like, you got songwriters and you got artists, and it's kind of a mix. So I moved here and I was a writer up until like honestly 2 years ago. So the first 2 years when I got here, funny enough, I kind of like chickened out and like I was like, ooh, I don't know if this country music thing is for me. So I just got like a normal job for like 2 years. And then like 2 years into it, I was like, you know what? I need to get after this. And then so I always say like my career here started in 2017.
Do you remember what was the moment that clicked for you when you decided 2015 Nashville, I'm committing to it?
I'm from all over. I say I'm from Virginia. I was in a military family, so I moved all over the place, but I was always like good at writing country music. In a way, like that's the style that I wrote music, like very like narrative based. And I understood it. But with that said, I played in a whole bunch of different bands and I lived all over the place. And in 2015, I actually lived in Oregon at the time, and I played drums in a lot of bands out there. And I knew I wanted to like not be a drummer, and nothing against drummers, but and I was kind of like at a crossroads because kind of the way the market was going, it was like, okay, well, Nashville was a hot spot, LA was a hot spot, and I was like, listen, I'm not really a pop artist. I don't really see myself fitting into there. And those were kind of like the two options. So I was like, I remember I was at work. I was doing this temp job at the time, and I was like working for this bank. I remember the woman who sat across from me, her name was Carrie, and she tried to make it in Nashville. And she self-admittedly says that she's like, I did not make it. I played on Broadway. I tried. It was hard. Tried it for like 5 years, and it is grueling. But she's like, you should try to move to Nashville. And I was like, man, I was like, oh. And actually, in that moment, I had never even been to Nashville. Never once. Actually, when I was a little kid, I went to the Opryland Hotel with my parents. But other than that, I'd never been to Nashville. And I decided right in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And I moved here without ever coming to the city. And like it was the first time I'd ever done that in my life, and probably the last time I'll ever do that. But you know what? It got me here. So
Do you feel like the preparation of constantly moving as a military kid helped you with just being able to freely uproot your entire life and say, yeah, I'm going to do it?
Yeah, oh for sure. I will say that for as hard as that can be when you're a kid and you move to a new town and you don't have any friends and it's all lame and you're like, for the first like 4 months. Like it's just kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest. But with that said, it made this a lot easier. The part that didn't make this easy was the fact that like I moved here and you watch like Luke Bryan on TV and you're like, yo, it's like, I move here and then you go meet a few people and then you play the opera. That's not the case. It was kind of like moving here, and I remember like the first day I went down to Broadway, and I always tell my wife this story, and she's like, she is shocked at how little forethought I had to this. I walked down Broadway and I was like, oh man, there's like a lot of people doing this. Shit. I'm like, they're pretty good too. And that was kind of the moment I was like, this is gonna be a tough ride. And you know what they say about Nashville? Do you know?
No, what do they say?
It's like a 10-year town, right?
I have heard that actually.
I'm glad I didn't know that before I moved here. But you start to get here and you're like, nah, it's not going to take me 10 years. And it's like 10 years later now. And I'm finally having some traction. But that's not to say that a million cool things happened along the way and it didn't shake out like 0 to 100. But yeah, man, it's kind of a process, you know? But it's cool though. It's
No, for
cool.
sure. Well, and it's funny hearing you say that the whole 10-year mark thing because hearing the word 10 is so intimidating. I don't even know that 10 years ago I even had the capacity to think what I would be doing in 10 years, you know? So when you're finally hit with that reality of like, whoa, this is actually not just a show up and catch a break thing, it can be intimidating, but I'm glad you stuck with it. I think that that's the key message in all of this is that you just have to keep going and stick with it.
Yeah, exactly right. And even doing what you're doing, man. It's like, you just start, and next thing you keep getting cool interviews, the interviews get bigger, the situations get bigger. And I would say this, I wouldn't do anything differently because really I'm happy with how everything's shaking out. But I would definitely give someone else advice to do things differently, if that makes sense. Like, my story is my story, and I'm glad that certain things happen because, I met incredible people along the way, including my wife, and, which has been instrumental in me becoming who I am as a person and as an artist, and that's a cool thing too, but it's just it's a journey. I guess that's the simplest way I can put it.
No, it is. And I think it's such a good reminder, too, that sometimes taking those blind leaps of faith, right? You had never been to Nashville. It was the first time you uprooted your entire life. Look what's come of it. You've known what's consistency. And then you also got to experience this, what I would like to consider a once in a lifetime type of love. I mean, not to be fucking creepy, but I was cheesing at a video that you and your wife made where you guys were doing this like flipping her around trend or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah, the one where it's like the Jack Johnson song.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I was just like smiling, grinning ear to ear. And I'm like, you know what? I should write this person because I think that this is the perfect example of what it means to go out and bet on yourself. You really do discover who you are when you don't have a fall backup plan, when you don't have these, little silver spoons in your mouth. This is truly what happens. You start to blossom into who you were meant to be, and that's finding love, finding self-love. And it's refreshing to hear you share that because it's the impression I got, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, thank you, and 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. Always bet on yourself. I always believe that great things happen when you're a good person and you work hard and you make smart decisions and you lead with your heart. Beautiful things happen without sounding cheesy there, but it's important. I always feel like it's important just to look on the bright side and just keep it moving. Make moves.
Absolutely. And I also liked what you said about like it being your journey. There are some things you would have done differently, but it's still at the end of the day, you wouldn't really change it because you are where you are at today. And funny enough, I was having that conversation yesterday where I was like, man, if I could tell anyone when they're getting into whether it's just podcasting, narrating, or conducting interviews, don't neglect all social media platforms. I'm learning that the hard way. I had great traction on Spotify. It took off in a way I never even imagined, but I was like, man, had I have just not neglected YouTube and fucking TikTok. I could have been a little bit further, but it tells a good story. And now I'm hitting that shit hard and it's working. The engagement is growing at a pace I did not see coming. And so, all to say, I agree with what you said. I wouldn't change it, but at the same time, I would tell people to like, hey, don't neglect certain parts, but everyone has their journey, you know?
Absolutely. And I'll also say that Spotify's a good one to be making moves on. No doubt about that. Spotify is awesome. I mean, but that's that's kind of also just I'm in the same boat, it's just you can't hit everything at once. I mean, there's so many platforms out there, so many things, and you see people making moves on this, that, and the other, and you're always like, man, it would be good, but it's a learning process, and the thing I, admire that you were over there saying is like, you see it and you're like, oh yeah, let me go and see if I can buff this up a little bit on my YouTube, and see if I can get my followers and or subscribers up and get moving, man. So I'm excited to see you grow on everything.
I appreciate that. I mean, I woke up one morning and was like, I've never promoted YouTube. How the fuck do I have 100 subscribers in there just watching whatever I post? I literally would post and ignore it just because I had a couple of family members that didn't use streaming platforms like Spotify. So I was just
Yeah.
uploading to upload. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have something here. Then I started to really focus. And then before I knew it, I'm like, all right, well, with this one guest, I posted on YouTube Shorts. And within 7 days, they got over like 15 to 20,000 views and hits on their name. So I'm like, hold on, I think I can actually do this. So it really did restructure how I was promoting the show. But I agree. It's just, you got to kind of just, go with it and don't beat yourself up for not hitting everything all at once. It'll all come on its own time. I do believe that.
Yeah, and like the other thing that you touched on right there that's super important is like success is weird because I always feel like in life when I try to predict how something's gonna go, it never quite goes that way. You might find the most success when you least expect it and in the places that you least expect it. And that could be YouTube Shorts, man. The YouTube Shorts are great,
They are.
it's and that's the thing. It's like we live in, it's crazy as I started doing this artist thing, 2023, and this just it goes to show how much this evolves. I don't think I could have done it the way I did it had I started any before, especially with the way that, you're really able to like again, I haven't started touring yet. Very few shows, not a lot of touring yet. I mean, again, I've played in bands, I've done shows, but with this project, a lot of it has been releasing songs on the internet, promoting on the internet, talking and engaging with fans on the internet, and you can build a lot of traction in ways that you couldn't in 2016, 2017.
So true.
And there's a lot of room for everyone. And yeah, and there's a lot of resources. I think that like as a musician, but as a podcaster, as anyone, like now is a great time because if you want to be successful at any of those things, there is the opportunity out there right now for sure. And it's pretty tangible in ways that, I mean, musically, it definitely wasn't tangible, 20 years ago.
Totally.
So it's a beautiful time, man. The internet can be a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. It's such a good reminder. And I want to go back to your writing days real quick because
Hmm.
something I like to do on the show is create very special segments to honor my guests. And this
Sure.
is kind of how I want to kick things off with you, get you thinking quick on your toes and get into your creative mind a little bit. But I noticed that in a previous interview, you talked about your elementary days, going to record stores with your dad and spending hours in them. So my first question to you is, if this were to inspire a song, what would you title it? That whole experience of going into record stores with your dad.
I'd call it Planet Music.
Beautiful.
I'd call the song Planet Music mainly because one can be seen as like a metaphor, but it's actually the name of the store that I used to shop at in Virginia Beach like all the time. It's closed now, along with like every record store, I feel like. But it was the name of the store and it was truly like all-encompassing land that I went to that I could find like I felt like I found myself. I was so yeah, I would name the song Planet Music.
Amazing. If Manning opened his record store in 2025, what would it be called and what would make this experience unique?
Man, I would call it Manning's Magical Record Machine. There we go.
Hell yeah.
That's what I call it. We'll get with the alliteration on that. But and what I do, ooh, this is a good question. How would I make it like unique and different? Um,
Which is funny because on my notes I wrote Manning Records sounds so sick.
that's a good one too. We'll compare notes if we decide to open this one day, actually.
Exactly.
I would try to put an emphasis on definitely a wide variety of, vinyl, obviously CDs. This isn't reinventing the wheel here, but, cassettes, all that stuff, because I do feel like more than anything these days, that's super cool. Man, I would also bring back and like they used to do this. They kind of do this at like Walmart, I guess is like the only one I see it at. I'm sure if you go to like an FYE, you can find it too. But like I used to think was so cool and it really brought a lot of attention was just like it's like we still do on Spotify, like with new releases, but like putting a real emphasis on just like new music that's coming out, like super, super corny, like, cardboard, like Taylor Swift cardboard things and like things like that, but like really bring a lot of attention to like just what's new, what's going on in a very tangible way. I know that's been done before, but I think that's how I found like a lot of cool music as a kid because, it's just like I'd go there and like I would walk in and like let's say I'm like, I don't know, I'm like 10. I don't know who Ludacris is. But like I'm like, oh, this dude looks super cool. And look, there's such an emphasis on, I don't know, making it very tangible. I would also say like trying to get like sign stuff in there, trying to like make it like something that people can buy it and it's like a valuable thing, like it's cool when artists sign it. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of like going back to my days shopping at like a normal record store. But so pretty much what I'm saying is what I would do is bring back a record store from 2001, which actually probably wouldn't do that well, but you know what? It'd be mine. I'd eat the costs.
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny because this is why I like doing this with guests because there is no preparation for it. I feel like one of the things with my shows is like I want to remind people that like creative collaborations are really up to us. And like I know all I'm thinking in my head right now while I'm hearing you talk is like, man, imagine having a record store in 2025 where you do have vinyl cassettes, CDs, etc., but with your tangible, ideas that you're talking about, doing early screening of music. So let's say a week before Taylor Swift's music comes out, this is where they come to do an early screening of the music, like a listening party, but there's the tangible posters and cardboards of, cutouts of whatever. I do think that's so fucking genius. So this is why I like doing that because as you're talking, my mind is also going, wait a minute, that's cool. I love that. I would have never thought about the cardboards, which it immediately reminded me of this time. There was a Destiny's Child cardboard in a record store. And my
Yeah.
mom straight up was like, let me go ask if they'll give it to me. And they gave it to me. They gave it to my mom. And I went and hung it up in my room for years. So, absolutely. I think it's so sick.
It's cool. Yeah, it's like I was thinking the other day about I feel like so much music comes out these days, which is a great thing, which is a great thing. And that people have the ability to make music and independently too at an affordable rate and put it out. But like I did love like back in the day, getting really hyped for a CD coming out in like 4 weeks, I don't feel like I get that hyped anymore just because I don't know about it. So, what better way to know about it than a bunch of huge cardboard monsters staring down at you when you walk into a store?
Dude, exactly. Well, and you said 10 years old. We're talking about the past a little bit, and we
hmm
couldn't talk about your childhood and your past without me reading this super fun fact about you when you were 7 years old. And of course, I had to bring it up on the show and talk about it with my own little spin to it. But in honor of your first concert at the age of 7, this is Spicy Manning. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
First of all, really fucking cool. Spice Girls, first concert, 7 years old. It wasn't up to you. Whose idea was it? Who took you out to that?
I don't even, one, proud to say that's my first concert. They were all the rage back in the day, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Me and my best friend Zach at the time went to this with his parents. I don't know how we got roped into this because I don't remember being like an avid Spice Girls listener, but I remember going and I all I remember from that concert is Scary Spice. And yeah, it was a show though. It was very for me at 7, it was like provocative, They like weren't wearing clothes half the time. That's what I remember. I like whether that actually happened at the amphitheater in Virginia Beach, I quite frankly couldn't tell you if that's factual. But I do remember them like having a time where they were like, "We're gonna get undressed right." And I was like, man, like 7-year-old Manning was like getting sent for a loop at this time. Just a lot was going on. So. It was an experience for sure. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
It was like your straight awakening versus mine. It was my gay awakening. I was like, let me tell you something. If I was seven at school and you came back the next day, I would have been that gay jealous kid that was like, oh, I'm so mad he got to see Spice Girls, the fashion, all of it. I would have been such a hater.
And I would have said, I said, man, you should have come. We had like two extra tickets. Shoot.
Well, the way I kind of want to honor this part of your life, which is very little, I mean, you were 7 years old very early, but I want to be playful with it. In the video, Wannabe, Sporty Spice does a standing back handspring. If you were in this video, what athletic ability would you showcase?
Definitely not that. I think I would showcase my stair stepper ability in this, and I would put the stair stepper to a very high level and make the music video go for at least 30 minutes so I could showcase how good of a cardio workout I can get. Most people would not make it past 2 minutes of that, but I would feel good at the end of 30 minutes that I got a great workout in and that the world knows that I'm in shape if they chose to watch for 30 minutes.
Amazing. I mean, listen, I would be getting a sweat in a different way. I'd be eating the habaneros, not moving on the stairs, but it would
Nothing
be a
wrong with that.
sweat.
That's very detoxifying as well, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you think of the word spicy, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Progressive in a provocative way. Like, if that makes sense. Like like kind of pushing the boundaries. I feel like spicy could be like what the Spice Girls were doing, or even like what Eminem was doing at the time, or like anything that's like this is a long time ago. Like this that wouldn't even be considered provocative now. But point being, it's just something that's like spicy is like good, but hard to palate for certain people, you know?
Yeah, like the borderline of it, but like attention grabbing in a good way for sure.
Yeah, yeah, like that's exactly right. That's what I think of spicy. It's like the yin to the yang, you know?
Amazing. How does Manning spice up his life when he's feeling stuck?
When I'm feeling stuck, what I usually try to do is go somewhere different. I try to see something. I like to watch movies. Like I like to watch a cool movie, like a badass movie that's like inspiring. Like me and Molly watched the movie Moneyball the other night. Have you seen that movie?
I have
It's a
so
good
good.
movie. It's cool. It's kind of like it makes you think in a different way. And like it was a spicy decision that they made for sure. I always just try to like switch up my surroundings, whether that's like through watching something that's kind of like enlightening, or taking a trip, just getting a different scenery. That's pretty much like what works for me the best.
Totally. I bet you didn't think we were going to be doing an entire Spice Girls segment on the show today, huh?
I think it's cool. And when you said 7 years old, I forgot about that interview. I was like, what did I do when I was seven?
You got a little nervous, huh?
I was like, oh man.
You probably won't have one, but if you can take any Spice Girls song and turn it into a country song, which one would you pick? I have one in mind when I wrote down this question, but I'm curious what you'd say.
I mean, I think I just go with the if you want to be my lover, like you gotta be my friend song. I think I'd do that and yeah, I'd like slow it down a little bit, put some pedal steel in there, throw a little banjo in there, some finger picking guitar, and make it a nice ballad and see how that shakes out. See how people would like that.
Dude, that's a much better answer than the one I wrote down for myself, so that's good.
What was yours?
I don't know if you know this song by them, but it's called Two Becomes One. It's so gay of me to even have this on my notes, but I was like, you know what? That is such a nice, like, ballad, and it used to put me in my feels for no reason. I was too young to know what lovemaking was all about back then, but it used to give me in my feelings. It's the first song that popped into my head. I'm like, that could be a good country song right there.
What, two becomes one?
Yeah, Two Become One.
Two become one. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to listen to it. And you know what? If you see that as the first cover I ever released, I got that idea from you. So
Absolutely, you're welcome.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I'll have to go listen to it later. I only know like the one album they had. Did they only have how many albums did they have?
They have like three, I think. I
Three?
could be
I just
wrong.
remember the one with like the letters spelled out on it, right?
Yeah, no one
Yeah.
come for me if I'm wrong. I promise I am gay. I'm not a fake gay. So no one be like, he's not gay enough to not know Spice Girls. People will come for me for that.
Like it's yeah, no, I just remember, listen, they were all the rage back in the day. That was huge and a little bit before my time. But with all these cool Spotify playlists these days, we're always pressing rewind here, so they'll show up in the mix sometimes when I'm working out or whatever.
Exactly. And now your device is listening to you, so it's probably the algorithm's probably going to throw some Spice Girls your way soon.
Go with it. We'll do it on the stair stepper today. I'm doing the stair stepper.
Exactly. There you go for 30 minutes. Do you
30 minutes.
think being exposed to this genre at an early age impacted the way you were open-minded to other genres? I know in an interview you've talked about like how you were into like hip hop rap, and I feel like you were
Yeah.
just so exposed to so many different genres at, an early age. Do you think that's impacted the way that you see music today?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is. I always say this, like I was always into music and I before anyone else that was like my age. Like I remember I was really into it. I got really into it and I got into like I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I got into all of the things that were controversial first because I thought that like that was just cool and that is kind of the spicy artist. So, whether it was like, but I do remember hearing Nelly when he did Country Grammar. I was like, this was a big thing for me, like a huge thing. That song came out and I was like, man, that's crazy how we did that with a nursery rhyme and made it into a multi-platinum song. That's like nuts. And I remember just sitting and like trying to think about the song that I was gonna make millions of dollars off of. And I was like, dude, I was like 8 or 9. Like I was like, man, I tried the Magic School Bus, didn't work. I tried a few other jams and man, like Nelly, dude, that was a well-written song because I was not able to recreate that at 8 years old. So, but I do think it was like got me on this journey to be like, I want to make songs that make me feel the way that song made me feel. And I was like, man, this song, like whether it was that song, that's a standout song to me. I remember like listening to anything that was I mean, like early on, like Dr. Dre, I remember like listening to that, like just anything that was had a good rhythm to it really got me. And I do think that that part I really carried on. Like most of my music, it is country. I would say there's a lot of rhythm involved in it too. And I think that's super important for making commercial music, whether it's country, pop, hip hop, having a strong rhythmic structure to any song. So yeah, that started at a super young age. And I started as a drummer. Like that was, if I could tell anyone to start on any instrument, drums. Drums are like really good because you really understand what drives a lot of music?
No, that is such a good answer because as you're saying this, I'm literally thinking in my head how there are a couple of songs that I heard that I was like, man, they're so genre bending. And I don't know if he did this intentionally, but they could really be taken out of the country world and be done in pop and EDM. And we'll talk about that a little bit towards the end. I'm going to save that one for later. But
Sure.
it's really fascinating to hear you say that because it really does make sense. And I think it does come through in your music. I'm like, it's country music, but it really could be genre bending if you wanted to. So I absolutely love that. But I want to go back to something you talked about a little bit ago. You said something about movies. And
Yeah.
funny enough, I wrote on here, this is just something I want to share with you on my notes real quick. But I wrote, big, thick country chick. If he ever considered turning this into a rom-com, I think this could be a hit.
Made me smile, but there's one more thing, and I'd be lying if I didn't say what it was, cause to this day it's got me falling in love. She was a big, thick country chickie, yeah, she was a cutie with tree trunk thighs and a bubblegum booty. She could hold my weight of the world better than any of them skinny ass girls. Got the full package, real deal, no plastic. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of baggage. I'm so full from the love that I get from a big, big country chick. Ain't nothing like my big, big country chick. And the way them Levi's hug her hips. Yeah, I know I found my perfect fit. Ain't nothing like my big, big country chick.
So that's what I journaled while I listened to it. Thoughts on that?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, honestly, so the idea behind that song, and this was a song that I recorded, did everything back in 2019. Like, so that's why it sounds different than everything else because I wasn't even an artist, wasn't doing it. It was a song I kind of did to start to like show kind of how I wrote. And it was meant to be a comical song in a sense, but you know what? I mean, yeah, like I think it could be a rom-com. I think you would have to take away the emphasis on like the whole idea of the song is kind of just to, like for lack of a better way of saying this, like just love people, whoever you love, man. It's like it's just kind of like all appearances, everything aside, like it's all good. It is meant to be a body positive piece of work And I do think that like that's kind of been done in rom-coms before. I I do remember, listen, the one that comes to mind is obviously going to be the movie Shallow Hal. That is
Dude,
okay, like that's kind of what it would turn out to be. Like I know it's not quite the same thing, but I know you know that movie.
no, I am fucking dying right now because that is on my notes. I literally thought like, oh my gosh, like I freaked out. Sorry, I didn't mean to like be so jumpy about it, but I freaked out because
Yeah.
it's literally what I journaled. I was like immediately thought of that movie. And also I'm like, man, the narrating just in the beginning, the first verse of that song, it made me really wish this song could be turned into a movie, which is why I was like, fascinated to journal about that. But then also hearing how you're into movies, I'm like, man, there could be something there, you know?
Yeah, I'm thinking, dude, that was a, I felt like more or less they had the same conversation we just had about like, dude, do you think I had this idea? You think we could turn this into a rom-com? And like, I can see the producers now being like, yo, this is gonna be a tough script because this is kind of, it's a sensitive like thing to do, but I think they did it well. It's crazy they brought in like Tony Robbins and everyone else in the movie, and it turned into what it did. But it was a great movie. So yeah, I say that. I'd absolutely think it could.
Hell yeah. Where do you think you get your wit from? I feel like in there, there's this characteristic tone of it's witty, it's very storytelling. We talked about the narrating. Where do you think that comes from?
Well, one when I was a kid, so like I was always like the class clown when I was a kid, and like I'm a little less class clowny now. I'm a little more like serious in life. But back when I was moving all around, that was like how I made friends. Like I was like I would have to go and to a whole new school, and like I'd have to be like funny, And I just kind of like I started looking at the world that way. Like the world can be super serious, but at the same time, I'm always kind of like to just see it in a way that gives me a chuckle. Like it's beautiful, but it's like kind of just like it's just kind of funny sometimes. And like for me, I think that in my music, I notice that people, I don't know, it's kind of my way of putting me in there. Like when people listen to me or like see me, that is one of my like assets as a person. I believe it's something I've developed my life as being kind of that person. I figured why not put that in my music? Like I think that and there's I have layers, of course, as we all do. But I always think it's good. And there's no better way to get someone to, like, especially in pop music or popular music, that can mean country, hip hop, anything. There's no better way to get someone's attention than having something like that sticks out, that's somewhat witty, that's somewhat like tongue in cheek. Like it's just something that's like kind of like those buzzy phrases. That's like it makes someone do a double take. They're like, huh, and it gets someone to listen. It's a good way to keep people interested in the music.
Dude, exactly. And I mean, that's exactly what you did to me. I'm like, I went down the rabbit hole of who you were for as much as what I could on social media and
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, man, I've got to connect with this person. And I think that you said it so perfectly. The essence of who you are as an artist being put into these songs, into these projects is one of the keys to connecting us to the music. I feel like when you don't put yourself into these, projects, people can't connect to them. And we all want something we can resonate with, we can connect with. And I think you're doing it because, again, I always say this, I wouldn't be able to have creative segments or do off the wall questions on interviews if I am not inspired by that person. And so thank you for putting yourself out there in a way that your wit shows, your romance shows, your narrating shows, your love for movies shows. I feel like I got a bit of a glance at who you were through your music, and that's fucking powerful.
I appreciate it, man. That's the biggest compliment I can get. I'm always a happy camper when someone can leave my music and be like, you know what? I feel like I know that guy. And I think you'd be a cool dude to hang out with?
Absolutely, exactly. And before we talk about new music and what's to come for the rest of the year, I want to honor your last name real quick with my final segment with you. And this is going to be Speed Questions Blank Rock Edition. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
The first one I have is Country Rock. What rock legend would you want to collaborate with?
Ooh, man. You know what? The first one that came to mind was Bruce Springsteen, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Perfect. The second one I have is emo rock. Did you go through an emo phase with music at any point in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I still do. I still love emo music, man. Yes.
Absolutely. Did you ever go through the crazy hair emo phase, or was that not part of it?
Well, I listened to all the bands with the crazy hair, but I never had the crazy hair myself. My hair doesn't. Dude, I didn't start using products until like 10 years ago. So I couldn't get my hair to naturally do that. And
Perfect. The next one I have for you is pop rock. If you could pick a girly pop to duet with today, who are you picking?
this is a little bit out there, but I don't know if this quite falls into that category, but I would say Taylor Swift. I mean, I know that she's a whole entity, but I do think it'd be cool. I just think she has like so many different types of songs she's written. I just think it'd be a cool experience to write.
No, it's so true. She has truly nailed what it's like to be an artist that can do any genre. So I
Yeah.
agree with that for sure. The next one I have is rap rock. It's karaoke night. You ditch the guitar. Is there a rap song you'd choose to perform?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was saying this to Molly. I would do something by Ja Rule, dude, because I feel like just to like do that low voice and like just I do something by Ja Rule probably, or I do something, or I'd go back and finally have justice with my cover of the Nelly song, Country Grammar. I'd finally go back and say, listen, this is my official cover of this song.
The answer couldn't have been better. And you know what? If we ever do meet up in Nashville and there's karaoke night, I've never done karaoke, but I will say this on record. You can do Ja Rule, I'll do Ashanti's parts. If they're,
Yes.
we'll bring that back for sure.
Yes, dude, 100%. I loved how Ja Rule used to do the duets.
The best.
He decided he could sing one day, and it was all that's a good see, that's a confident man right there.
It is. He really is. The last one I have for you is EDM rock. Song in your catalog you think would sound great if a DJ mixed it. I have a pick, but I'll let you go first.
I would say probably Big Dick Country Chick, but I would say Rental Car could be cool too. I think it just depends on like how you spin it, but I think they both have like I don't want to say they have a drop, but they have kind of like the choruses are kind of droppy vibes already, so it's like you could rock with it. What's your pick?
Rent a car. That was immediately when I came up with this question. I'm like, man, a DJ could really do its thing there. So sick.
Fresh paycheck, cash burning in my pocket, a red wing boot on the gas. A pretty girl saying it moves like a rocket, and Foo Fighters up on blast. Yeah, I remember her laughter when she said, "Can we go a little faster?" And I still get a little sentimental when I think of me and her in that rental car.
Yeah, dude. Ah, man, be on the lookout. That might be in the cards. That'd be crazy.
Heck yeah. Well, you've got a ton of inspo on this whole episode once this airs. You'll be able to go back to the drawing board and create a fucking movie. You'll be writing a script by the end of the
Hey, I'm
year.
gonna
Who
hit up
knows?
Calvin Harris after this, and we're gonna get right on it.
Exactly. Before we wrap things up, did you catch my reference to why everything had rock in it? I took Roth out of your last
I
name.
I did. I did.
Okay.
I did catch that reference. It took me a second, but then I was like, "Oh yeah. Yeah, because of my last name. That makes sense." Yes.
I mean, I definitely wasn't trying to like underestimate you or anything, but I was just like, I forgot to preface the question with like in honor of your last name. And so I left that out. I jumped ahead a little bit too ahead of myself. And so I'm like, I don't know if
No,
this made sense to him.
you don't worry about it, man. Listen, that's been my nickname for a long time. I mean, obviously there's a guy, obviously Dwayne came in there and stole my title from me, The Rock. But you know what? There was once upon a time where I was called The Rock too by a select few individuals. So I understood it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for not making me feel dumb.
No, no, dude, I'll pick right up on it. You good?
Amazing. The new single called Like I've Never Been in Love coming out in July. What can you
Yeah.
tell us about this song, the inspo? What's the song about, and when can we expect it?
Yeah, so right now it's slated to come out on July 11th. Again, there's always like we talked about, there's always that part of me, kind of like my lyrical style that's there. I would say this one is kind of moving in a different direction. I would say there's like certain parts of it that are a little more country, there's certain parts of it that are a little more hip hop. It's got kind of like some Wallen vibes in it. I would say would be like a good person to compare it to, but at the end of the day, it's sexy, it's spicy. I think it's the sound maturing and becoming a little more, I don't want to say dark, but I do want to say a little more sexy and a little more polished, you know?
Do you think that's something that's coming with age? I know I've talked about this on the show before. I don't talk about it often, but at 36 years old, I feel like the older I'm getting, the more I continue to pursue this show, the more confident I feel. I feel good in my skin. I feel sexier. Do you relate to that?
I do. I think that like it is true with the music too, because the first four songs, Big Thick Country Ship was its own thing, but the four after that kind of have a cohesive sound. It's like the boy next door meets like like falls in love. And that's all a part of me too. And then I think that as we kind of go into this next chapter, it's a little more raw, it's a little more vulnerable, it's a little more sexy, it's a little more like, it's a little darker at times. And I think that like there's just more colors on the canvas, you know? And I think that's the best way to put it. And it's a little bit more mature, I'd say. And it's a little bit more confident. I think because I'm a little bit more confident and I'm willing to do things that I wouldn't have done when I started. I've never been one to play it safe, but it is a little more, oh, like, you know what? Let's throw this in here. Let's see what happens, you know?
Exactly. Isn't it so crazy the things you attract in life when you are building this foundation out of security, right? Like, I feel like just in general, your faith grows stronger, your security in who you are is stronger. You start to attract the right partners, for example, your wife. Like, it's crazy what you attract when security is one of the driving forces in your projects. And I'm seeing that with what you're explaining of what's to come. I'm like, man, security is so sexy.
Security is sexy, confidence is sexy, like growth is sexy, you know? That is one thing that I would say, kind of tying everything about this interview in. I would say I got here in 2015, but like that person wasn't ready for like the music that I'm doing now, what I'm doing now. That it's all about growing as a person and being confident in that person. And I think people look this way and that way and try to find the answers in someone else, but it's really just embracing who you are, and that's sexy. That's sexy. People love that. You know, being confident in who you are. There's nothing better than that.
Dude, I couldn't have said it any better. I'm so excited for this new song. Can't wait for it to come out. You said July 11th is when it's going to be. Hopefully, if it stays on schedule, we know sometimes things change, but
Yeah.
July it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for it. Lastly,
Yeah.
Manning, tell everyone where they can find you on socials, where they can stream your music.
I'm on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. You can find my music on all the DSPs, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Tidal, Deezer. I go down the list. You can find me everywhere that you can consume music online. And yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere out there on the net. So I'd love to have you guys aboard if you want to join the journey.
Not boring at all. I think it's the most amazing, thrilling ride ever, especially with your writing, your music. So sick.
Oh, dude, I didn't even say that right. I meant to say join the journey. Did it sound like I said boring?
It did.
Oh, no, I said, sorry, I mumble sometimes.
No, you're good. Or maybe I
Join
heard it wrong.
join the journey. But yeah, yeah, definitely not boring. We try to, again, keeping it spicy, you know?
Exactly. Not me sitting here trying to defend you. Like, you're not boring.
I know you're on the move, man. People want to see
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time, Manning. It's been such a pleasure having you on and getting to connect with you. And I'll definitely be in touch soon on when it's going to air and all those details. But thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you so much and have an amazing day, okay?
You as well. Take care. We'll be in touch.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye. Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.